Okay, now, I don't know if I'm up. It looks like I'm up. I don't know if anybody's going to join me. I'm going to try this. I don't know what happened with that. I tried to get online. I got all kinds of notifications going off. The computer was going great. Everything was great until I hit start. Well, actually, until I got done with my intro. Then it was terrible. I apologize for any of that. Let me let me jump back for a second and say welcome. Hello. Welcome to the studio. I'm here. This stream is working. Thank you, Kenya. I'm going to try to go on from here. This is, pretend this wasn't an abject disaster to start with. We're going to make the best of it from here on out. Things are going to go great, and we're going to have a good time. Whew. Okay, to that end, I'm painting roller skates tonight. There they are over there. Thank you, Kenya, and anybody else who's kind of stuck with me through this. This is the strangest thing. All of a sudden now it says I have an excellent connection, no problems. I don't understand. I reboot before I do this, reboot the router, everything's good. All of a sudden, mayhem and pandemonium. Let's get started with what we're doing. I've got some roller skates up here. I was trying to tell you before, I'm not a great roller skaterist, if that's what these are called. People who roller skate are called. My wife loves to roller skate. I'm more of an inline skate person, but since she likes roller skating, I'm going to paint some roller skates for her, and I'm going to get going with it. Couple of things we're going to do different here. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try something really crazy here. I'm going to get some really light color. This is cobalt blue, and I'm going to paint my laces as though they're white, right? And white is kind of white. White is sometimes blue. I just don't want to have them stark white. So I'm going to go over these with this little bit of blue color. We're going to pull this color all the way out. If we don't stay within the lines, it's going to be okay, because our colors that are going to go over top of this are going to be much stronger. So we're going to be okay with this. Plus this blue is going to give it just a little bit of color in here and allow it to have some interest. Okay, and while I'm doing this, while I'm starting here, Kenya, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hope you got to spend some time, maybe not necessarily with your family, but certainly if that's who you wanted to spend it with, that would be awesome. But at least someone, a loved one that you could spend some time with. I think that would be pretty awesome. I had an interesting Thanksgiving. It's a lot of mayhem involved. Things that didn't necessarily start out quite right, and some would say continued to go a little sideways from there, but that's okay. Not a bad time. Everybody was safe. Everybody got here safely. Everybody got home safely. Just some harrowing times in there along the way. All right, now I've painted my laces this very light blue. Now I need to give them some time to dry up a little bit. And actually, I'm going to pull a little bit of this color off of there. You did lots of great food. I am glad to hear that. Something just flashed. I'm hoping I'm not going dead again. I'm glad to hear you had a great time. I'm glad to hear you had a lot of great food. I had some fantastic food myself. I cooked the turkey. I don't cook turkey like everybody else does. I cooked my turkey in my Instant Pot because it turns out great every time. You never have to worry about it. It never dries out. And There we go. I think that's going to be better. I'm looking up here. It looks really blue up there. And my wife made the rest of everything, and she always does a fantastic job. And even if she didn't, she does. It was wonderful. My parents were here. Her parents were here. A good time was had by all. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make kind of a pinky orange. I'm using my quinacridone rose and a little bit of gamboge. And if you look at our image here, the wheels, the bumpers there, I think that's what you call the things in the front, are really kind of that pinky orange color. I remember lots of roller skates. I'm trying to remember what we're painting. Roller skate wheels being that reddish, pinkish color. I'm going to paint mine that color. I'm going to start with the bumpers up here. Actually, I'm just going to go over. I got a wheel back here. I can paint. I'm going to go right over the bumper here. All of this. And then I was thinking about it, Kenya, or anybody else who's here. I think next, this doesn't have anything to do with food anymore. I was thinking next year, I think to start the year next year, I'm going to do some looser impressionist style paintings. I'm going to try to do some loosening up, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know if it's going to go good. I don't know if it's going to go bad. I'm going to give it a shot, and we'll see. And if it goes well, awesome. If it goes badly, then it's a learning experience, and we can all learn from my mistakes, but I think it'll go pretty well. So I'm actually looking forward to that. I got roped in. I took a nice long few days off and had plenty of time to do a number of things. One was actually watch a few YouTube videos of people I haven't seen in a long time. One of them was Tim Wilmot. I've talked about my admiration of Tim Wilmot's painting many times, and I like to try to get a little better and a little better, and so I think I can do that. Okay, so I lost the connection for just a bit. I blacked out and came back to the first stream that you started with just a black screen. Blacked out and found the link for this stream. Okay. Wabi is here. Is it possible to have two open at once? It should not be. I don't think. Give me a second. Kenya, I'm going to kill the first one. Let's see if I can do that. I don't even know if I can. I've got this one going now, and I've got this one going. Oh, I can't. Oh, yeah, I can. Okay, so there you go. The first one is gone, and nobody will ever go to that first one again. As well, they shouldn't. They should only go to this one. So there's only one. Thank you for letting me know that. Hopefully nobody gets confused. Hopefully everybody can find their way to this one. I'm continually frustrated by my wireless connection out here in the garage. I have low expectations of it, and it continues to underperform all the time. My provider says, no, there are no issues. You have a great connection. I look on the app that controls this connection, and everything looks wonderful. I used the computer all week long, Everything is fantastic. I start this stream and it's instant mayhem. And I cannot, for the life of me, figure out why streaming now all of a sudden has become so difficult. Iwabi. I don't know how to pronounce your username. I think you're new here, and I got a couple of rules, and the rules are kind of try to be nice to everybody and ask any questions that you want answers to. Now, I'm more than likely to have an answer about watercolor painting, less likely to have an answer to the question of the meaning of life. Actually, I probably have that one. That's probably 42. But I'm willing to take a stab at answering anything. Just not sure I'm going to be able to answer anything. And if you could give me a little leeway on the technical difficulties, it's a one-man show, and technology has, since I've been out in the studio here, has never been my friend. I continually plug away at it, and it just seems to never get a whole lot better. You were gonna say 42. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I probably listen to 1 or 2 a week, depending upon what I'm doing on the weekend. And I just listened to it's Douglas Adams, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe, the Galaxy, whatever it is. I just listened to it. It was just as fantastic now as it had been in years past. Very much enjoyed it. Now, see, here's a I'm getting an error on YouTube. Stick with me. It says, please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Right? So the default is 0 seconds on OBS. I set it to a manual of 2 seconds, and now it's telling me I have to go to less than 4 seconds. I'm just writing this down. I'm going to try to make another change to it when we're done here, and we'll see how that goes. Those books are fantastic. Okay. So here's what we've got. We've got some red wheels, and we've got some shoelaces. The shoelaces look kind of blue right now, but they're not going to be blue when we're done with them. And I'll tell you what I want to do is I want to make these socks a little blue back here too. I'm going to paint a little blue on these socks. The socks, I'm kind of okay if they stay a little bit whiter. But definitely down in this area down here, I'm going for a little bit of darker shadow. I can come across here, and then we'll pull that out a little bit. That's going to dry and lighten up. I think that'll be fine for some socks. We'll be able to deal with that on the back end. Let me do the same thing with this sock over here. I'm going to turn my page. Ooh wabi. I turn my page a lot. I'm pretty unforgiving about that. I didn't learn to paint watercolors that are in a traditional way. I kind of taught myself, and then by the time I ever took a watercolor class, the guy was like, yeah, the first guy I took a class from was like, yeah, hey, if you need to turn your page to make it feel like you're painting better, turn your page. There's nothing that says you can't or you shouldn't. And so I do it quite a lot. I'll always try to turn back to center here, though, relatively quickly so that you can see what's going on. So cool. I've just designated that the light is coming from this side, going to that way. I put some shadow on, right shadow around the tongue, around the boot here, and on the backside of the socks, hoping that this lighter spot here against that little bit darker spot there is gonna push it forward a little bit, and I think it did. And we're gonna assume it does, and we're gonna go from there. Let's see. I thought. Let's see. I just finished the Dragon Crawler Carl series. Dragon Crawler Carl. I don't know. I'm not sure. I know who Dragon Crawler Carl is. I might have to check that out. Dragon Crawler Carl. Okay. I will say, I get all mine from all my books from the public library, and I use the app Libby to get all my books. It's fine, right? I don't have any problem with Libby. Libby is totally fine. But for whatever reason, the only suggestions I get, or seemingly the only suggestions I get from it have been, and her books are good, but after a while I'm like, oh, come on, have been for Frida McFadden books. And I'm just like, can we move on to something other than Frida McFadden? Dungeon Crawler Carl. Oh, Dragon. Okay, Dungeon Crawler Carl. I read that wrong. Dungeon Crawler Carl. All right, well, I'll still read them. See how they, or I'll see if my library has them anyways. All right, I'm going to try to be super careful here and go around these eyelets. I'm going to try to keep a wet edge as I do this and not get too dark. I want the leather that we're painting here to remain fairly light. And that's going to allow for a couple of things. Right? It's going to allow me to do something like this. Just take some of the straight umber, burnt umber, and put down here. And allow that to bleed up and make a better natural. Well, of course that didn't do it. We'll get to it. It'll work, but it'll make a better natural bleed of the paint. It'll make it run together better and come out better in the end. And if we want to lighten that up a little bit, we can take a little bit of that yellow ochre and put on there. And as long as we keep this wet, we're going to be fine with whatever we do. There we are. And Kenya, as you know, I've been trying to do this more and more, is to let the paint be the paint and me control things a little less and a little less each time. And I feel if I can do that, I can worry a little less about forcing things, and the painting should be a little bit more dynamic. Should be a bit more dynamic. Should have a bit more interest to it as we're going along. There we go. And I might even try to drop in a little bit of this, keeping with the same brownish theme. Put a little bit of sepia in a few places and let that color kind of run around and do what it wants to do. And I'm just going to keep on talking while I do this. So I don't know if you heard me or not, Kenya. I'm hoping to, after the new year, because I had some extra time over the holidays to watch some videos and reassess my paintings, of which I'll show you one that I've been working on. I've got a few hours into it. And so I want to, I don't know that I'm going to be good at it. And that's okay. I can get good at it if I have the desire to get good at it. I'll just tell myself I'm going to be good at it. Sometimes that'll work. But I'm going to do some more loose painting, some more impressionist. And I was thinking about doing like an entire impressionist January. We could do some snow scenes or some landscape scenes or whatnot, but some looser things, more along the lines of Alvaro Castagnet, who I very much like, Tim Wilmot, who I very much like, maybe what's his name, Gary Tucker. Maybe not. I'm trying to think and remember who the guys are that I really like. Charles Reed, he does a lot of really loose things, and I just think that I have my own style of painting, of which I'm enacting right now, and I really like how I paint. I think I do a pretty good job with my style of painting. But maybe I'm missing out on a little bit, and I could do a little bit more. Or maybe I can incorporate another style into what I do, and I can't do that unless I practice it. So I was thinking, why not give it a shot? And I've done some pretty impressionistic paintings before, and some have turned out pretty well, and quite honestly, some have been a disaster. That's okay. I'll just approach it with a little humility and look at it as a challenge, and we'll go from there. All right, cool. So I like where this is going. I don't know if these are the right colors for this boot, but what I do really like, and I think I've got to just bring this down a little bit. I think my line isn't quite right. What I do really like is the variation in color here. Right? It got this ochre bit here, this darker here, some darker spots into a little bit of maroon up there. I like that. I don't know if that's going to be right. I don't know if that's a wrong thing to do, but it looks cool to me. It has a nice look to it. I'm going to try to replicate that over here a little bit. It's going to be a little difficult. There's a lot to paint around as I go up here. So just like I did this side of the boot on the left foot, I'm going to do, of course I'm doing this backwards. I'm going to do that side of the boot on the right foot over here. And let's see how this goes. And I think, or my hope is anyway, that by the time we're done with this blue, these blue shoelaces are there. They might still be blue, but they're mostly going to look white. All right, and I'm just going to keep right on rolling with this. I don't know how many people are here right now. I'm not trusting my my metrics because everything else tonight has been kind of goofed. But anybody who's here, take a moment, say hello. I really like to talk to people while I'm painting. If I didn't, I wouldn't do this. I would just sit here in my studio and paint by myself. Probably turn on a podcast. I might turn on Spotify and sing to myself while I'm doing it. And believe me, nobody wants that. That would be pretty horrible. So let's have a conversation. If I lean forward and my hair gets in the way of the camera, please be kind. I know there's some gray in there. I don't need to be reminded. No, it's fine. I'm comfortable with my hair. I'm trying to think what else I can tell you. My Thanksgiving started last week. Did I tell everybody I made Thanksgiving dinner for my office in the office? Took all the ingredients to make Thanksgiving dinner, and I made a Thanksgiving dinner for lunch for everybody in my office last week. That was or 2 weeks ago, I guess, at this point. That was really fun to do. I think it went over pretty well. I mean, it's hard not for, a free lunch not to go over very well. So I have to say, I think it went over pretty well. Let's get a little bit more of this maroon in here. If I mix this maroon with a little bit of this maroon perylene, it gives a wonderful color. It's like a rusty brown color. It's really fantastic. Let's see, Sherry. Oh, this is Sherry, but okay, Sherry. I'm sorry. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. And I just put my finger in that wet paint. Sherry, I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. We're able to spend some time with some loved ones. I will share part of what made my Thanksgiving frustrating was my wife was super nice, and she knew I had a cell phone for a year. And I've had problems with that cell phone since day one. And she was so nice and called the company, got me a brand new cell phone. Bless her heart. And it got here and it couldn't be activated. And I spent 2 days on the phone with the service provider, trying everything they thought needed to be done to get this phone to work. And the guy's like, I don't know what you're doing. And I'm like, I'm following the instructions on your website. And the guy's like, no, you got to download the app. Follow the instructions on the app. And I'm like, are they different? Are the instructions different on the app than they are on your website? If so, why? Why would you guys have different instructions in one place than another place? And he's like, oh, no. I didn't mean that they're different. It's just more accurate. I'm like, that sounds like they're different to me. Anyways, I spent 2 days, 4.5, 5 hours on the phone with them, only for them to say, well, it's nice that you've done all this work. It's not that we don't believe you've done everything right, but we can't do anything with your phone until you take it into a store. Cool. Yeah, I'll drive into town, take the phone with me so we can do the same thing there that I'm doing here with you, and then you can tell me the phone doesn't work. So I take the phone into this cell phone store, and the guy picks it up and he takes it and he does the same thing I did on the phone. He goes, here you go. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Make a call with it. And he's like, huh? I go, yeah, try and make a call with it. So he goes, okay. He tries to make a call with it and he goes, oh, it doesn't work. I'm like, yeah, yes. Now you're starting to understand. And he goes, that's weird. It should work. And I'm like, yes, it is weird. And then he told me something even weirder. We can't help you. Because you bought it online, we can't do anything with it in the store. I'm like, that's weird. He goes, this is how you do it. And this guy was super nice. This is how you do it. You just got to go back and do this and do that. Fine. I'm happy to do it. Not a problem. So I go back and do what he says to do. Whoops. I go back and do what he says to do. And the website that I did my work on, that he sent me to do it, said, when you're done with this, take it into the store and return it at the store, and they'll either get you a new phone or they'll send it in, and that will start your refund and whatnot. Cool. That sounds easy. I'll do that. I'll take it to the store. I take it to the store and they go, oh, you can't do that through the store. You have to mail it back. If you do that through the store, it's going to be an additional $70 to do it. And I'm like, $70? I'm not sure I paid $70 for the whole phone. So then I took it back home, packed it up, sent it back in. They sent me a new phone and activated the second one. And so 3 days I'm without a cell phone. I'm going, oh, well, you gotta be kidding me. Anyway, that was just one fun part of my whole Thanksgiving weekend. What a crazy weekend. Let's see, I'm going to put just a little bit of blue in here, and I'm going to start to give me a little bit more blue in here. Ooh, look at that color. I'm going to start to define some shapes here. And some brighter colors over here. I'm going to try to keep these nice and bright on this second layer so we have some fun colors that we're working with. That's not $70 to return it. That didn't include the cost of the phone or anything like that. That was just the return fee. And then there was going to be a restocking fee on top of that. And I'm like going, you know you're not restocking it. I brought it to you and you told me it was broken and it needed to go back. You're not restocking it. Why would there be a restocking fee? Oh, well, that's just policy. And I'm like, this is just madness. I don't understand any of this. Why would anybody buy a cell phone from you guys? But I bought a cell phone from them. And now that I have my cell phone and it's working, I actually like my cell phone. It's much better than the previous one I had, which was pretty terrible. Not that it's a bad phone, not that it's a bad maker. It's a big name, a brand name. It just never worked for me. It's one of those ones that you get and you have high hopes for it and you use it and it's just disappointing when you use it. But you know it should be a great cell phone. In those 3 days that it does work, you're like, this is awesome. Yeah, those 3 days for me were very short. So what are you going to do? Well, wait, Liza's here. Liza is here. Hello, Liza. Welcome. So we got Sherry, Kenya, and Liza here. That's a good night. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Trying to paint some roller skates, as you can see, and trying to battle some technical issues, as always seems the case. And there we go. These are called stoppers. Are these not called stoppers? Does anybody know what these are actually called? They're probably called something not stoppers. I think they look like stoppers to me. They help you stop. I think if they're not called stoppers, they ought to be called stoppers. There we go. Got a little highlight on those. Oh, I think that looks pretty good. I actually like the way the leather's looking up here. I think that's pretty good. I never learned to roller skate, but I admire those who can. So I never really learned to roller skate, but I learned how to ice skate. And they're pretty close. My first skates were not were hockey skates. So no toe pick, no anything like that, just a couple of blades in a couple of boots and off you go. And I didn't know any better, and it was a long time ago, I remember falling many times, but also having a lot of fun on those skates, and some good memories with those. I don't know how my father used to do it, but he came home one day. He would do this for different things. But he came home one day with a whole bag or box full of skates. And he went, if you guys want to learn how to ice skate, I got some skates for you. Okay, cool. Literally, he's got a box full or a bag full of 20 different skates of 18 different sizes and what. Okay, cool. Let's figure it out. It's been so, I don't remember. It's been so long since I skated. Now all the kids are on electric skateboards or scooters. Yeah. I got pushed out of the house. Go outside and do something. That's what my mother used to say all the time. Just go do something. I'm not worried about what you do. You're not going to get in trouble because, we lived out in the country. There wasn't a whole lot to get in trouble doing. Just go away. You're bugging me. You need to burn off some energy. You go find something to do. And we had in my driveway, not even at the end of my driveway. So my driveway was probably 100 yards long, 80 yards long, and about 60 yards into it, there was a big depression, and there was always water that was there in the fall or in the winter as things dried up and got snow and it melted and everything like that. It would always form these puddles there, and so I always knew there's probably a 10-foot diameter place I could go out and do a little bit of skating. Kenya says, I used to roller skate at the Santa Ana riverbed to the beach. Wow, I tried ice skating once and it was close to catastrophic. I always knew I could ice skate kind of at the back of our property, which was fun. My parents were friends with, for me, whoop, that's still just a tiny bit wet. I don't want to do that. For me, it was my kindergarten teacher married a local farmer, and they had a pond, and we were allowed to go over there and go ice skating on their pond, which was very exciting. I used to love to do that. Okay, so wait a minute. I gotta think about this. That's wet. I've already kind of bodged up the beginning of it here. I don't want to do that anymore. So what I think I want to do is I'm going to do some on the wheels here. So let me get a little bit of some color going on here and start with some of these wheels. And I've got to think about this for a minute because it's a little darker up here and a little bit darker down here. I remember going. He was a big dairy farmer. The family that my kindergarten teacher married into. He was a big dairy farmer, and we'd go over there in the summer and help work on the farm a little bit from time to time. If we were lucky, he'd let us go fishing in the pond, in that same pond. That was always fun. I always really enjoyed that. It's a nice time in the summer there. I used to have to go over to the next town over. It was called Newton Falls, Ohio. You can look it up. Newton Falls, Ohio. Newton Falls has zip, was their motto for a long time. Their zip code was 4444. 44444. Whatever, 5 4s, whatever that is. Newton Falls. Newton Falls, Ohio. Since we've gone to 9, they've kind of lost that moniker, but it used to be that they had all 4s, 44444. That was their zip code. Newton, that was their motto. Newton Falls has zip. We go over there, or I'd go over there too. They had a roller rink in their town. It wasn't very big, but they had one. And seemingly I would do great for a while. You know, like a lot of teenage kids, my mom would drop me off and go, I'll be back to pick you up in 2 hours or whatever it was. And here's, $3, get yourself a soda or something to drink after a while so you're not totally dehydrated, and try to have fun and stay out of trouble. Cool, thanks, Mom. I'm out of here. I hope you're going to be late to pick me up, because I'm planning on having a lot of fun. And I'd go and I would zoom around the rink there for hours and hours until I got tired, and then it was Crash City. It really was Crash City. I was on the ground more than I was standing up. Once I got tired, I was done. I was totally done. It was not a pretty sight, I'll tell you that. And I would come home bruised and battered some days. And then I'm like, I'm going back next weekend. My mom was like, why? You've been run over 15 times. That doesn't sound like a lot of fun. You don't understand, Mom. All right, cool. So our bumpers here are looking good. Our wheels actually are kind of looking good. I like the way they're going. I'm hoping that my soles here are dry enough so we can come back in and paint the back side of these. Right, the toe box here. Did I miss any comments here? I'm painting away and telling stories here, and you guys, I might be missing some comments here. Let me get this real quick, and then I'm going to look up and read a little bit. And then I'll tell you what I plan to do on a little bit of this. And I got, all right, that goes up kind of like that. Okay, so here's what I forgot what I was going to say. Let's see. I used to roller. Liza says, I'm sure you were a great help to them. My dad was a dairy farmer for 15 years, and it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. I would go over, and in the summer, I did a lot of mowing of lawn for him and for his dad. I'd help him in the field. We were doing some hand planting. Tracy is here. Welcome. Tracy, been a long time. Thank you for joining. I hope you've been well. How have you been? It's been a super long time. We all missed you. I'm just telling stories and hoping to get something on paper that looks decent. Not exactly sure how that's going, but it's here. Tracy, did you ever roller skate? Were you a roller skater growing up? I was a lot of roller falling. More than roller skating. Let's see. Oh, I painted over that. I was only supposed to do this much of this wheel back there. All right, that's okay. In my defense, though, right, that wasn't something I really cared about. That was just something to go out and do, to have some fun with friends, you know. Let's see. Did I not draw this? Oh, this whole area gets colored in right here. This whole area. I didn't put this one in to start. I should have. There's a wheel right back there. I can see it. There it is. There it is. Michael, how come I can't see Sherry or Tracy in chat? Because I'm not sure. I can see it. Well, Tracy is coming in as TNJP5. And Sherry is here as Uwabi. And I don't know why everybody's names are a little goofed up. Tonight started out a little odd, and it's continuing a little odd. So we're just going to go with it and hope everything gets better from here on out. Yeah, Kenya says, Sherry's showing up under a different name. Okay, yeah, you see Tracy's picture. That's how I knew it was Tracy. I'm flummoxed as to why things are different. I'm a little glad that things are different for everybody, not just me. Makes me feel like maybe not everything that's gone wrong. I think YouTube changed our usernames. I hope they didn't change your whole username. That would kind of not be fun. Let's just say YouTube's having a slight hiccup about it right now. The stream started out less than optimally. I talk about this with my team. If anybody from my team is watching, you can chime in and say it. I don't like to disparage a whole lot. So I'm just going to say less than optimal. It wasn't bad. It's just we had a few challenges in what we're doing here. And that's okay. We're going to overcome those challenges, and we're going to have a good time painting. I started out by saying this while my stream was crashing and burning right from the get-go. It's weird, and I should say it's really weird because my computer will be working perfectly before this. I can look at YouTube videos, I can check my email, I can do, I can be on Discord, I can stream through Discord, everything's fine. I hit the start streaming button and everything just goes haywire. Actually, it doesn't go haywire then because the intro works. As soon as I'm done with the intro, everything goes crazy. Maybe it's this camera. That's a 4K camera. Anyway, I'm trying to get it figured out. I'm having a little hard time with it, obviously. But I started by saying that I am not a big roller skaterist, but my wife loves to roller skate, and so every Monday, every Tuesday, I ask her, "Do you have any suggestions on what we can paint?" And finally, this time, she said, "I think you should paint some roller skates." And I went, "You know what? I think that's a great idea." Let's see. This says, Tracy, how's your art going? You're still putting content out because you haven't come up on my feed lately, but I think of you often. Tracy says, been posting a little slow lately. I'm working on becoming more consistent again. That's cool, Tracy. I totally understand that. I think we all understand that. Life gets in the way of YouTube. Life gets in the way of a lot of things, but when this is not your job because you're not 20 and working in the gig economy and you're trying to do that and 15 other things, it gets a little difficult. Okay, so here's what I need to do. I guess it doesn't matter which one I start with. I'm going to paint the tongues, right? So I'm going to paint the tongue all the way down through all of these laces, right? And I've got to do something else if I bring that reference up, you can see it's on the inside of those laces, it's pretty dark. So I've got to have a lighter area up the center of the tongue, right? I got to have a lighter area here and be darker on both sides over here. Certainly dark on this side. Our light's coming from this way. This flap of leather is going to cover this up, so it's got to be dark right down this side, and then right along the edge here, it's got to be dark. So it's going to be tough. It's a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, but one I think we're up for. One I think we're going to be able to do. Right? And the laces are going to do two things for us. One is they're going to cause us problems because it's a lot of little spaces in there. And two, it's going to help us out because it's a lot of little spaces in there. We can then get that little space wet and then take whatever time we need to move the paint around however we need to move that paint around. Right? It's a double-edged sword. So once we get this color on here, this nice leathery color, there we go. Now we've got to come back with this little darker, a little richer color and figure out right along this edge here, how dark is it? How much color needs to go on there, and how much do we spread that out? And I'm going to say that side gets something like that, and maybe just a touch. Down here. And then we go on to the next section, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a slightly smaller brush. It's really hard. It's really hard. Tracy, you are exactly right. Trying to I set this stream up so I can be consistent in something with this, but trying to be consistent when you're doing a normal job, and in my case, I think in your case too, some parenting and some socializing and everything else, holy cow, then making time to do more YouTube stuff, which is fun but not crucial, gets to be tough and takes up time. And for me, I have to say, if I didn't have this time set aside for a Wednesday stream, and my wife didn't say, you love painting and you need to do at least an hour of painting every week, I don't know that I would be able to keep it up. It would be tough. It would be tough. Let's see. Oh, Sherry said, I don't know what to do. My phone updated, and now you've got your login is all goofy. There's a lot of bad phone juju going around. I'm not laughing at you, believe me. I feel your pain, but I think we're okay with it for tonight. There's no rush on our account to get it taken care of. We know who you are. We like you just as much with this login as we do with your other, or with this account name showing as with any other. I'm glad I dropped down a brush size because this seems really small. It also seems like I grabbed enough paint here to paint the entire thing. The only thing I have to do is make sure this doesn't dry out. it dries out, I'm in trouble. Look, I almost reached back and grabbed more paint, which I don't think I need. Certainly didn't need more paint. Okay, but now I can start adding in my darks. There's a dark area. There's a dark area. I'm hoping that these darks are what is going to make this tongue. Right? Put a little dark on this side. All right, that kind of looks like, I think that looks pretty good. I'm actually kind of impressed with that. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I do like when I think something should work out a certain way and then you do it and it works out. And it looks now with that dark in there, come on now, with that dark in there, it looks like there's some dimension on this, right? Right? It does. Come on, I need some more dark on this. Dark, dark, dark. It's those darks that allow those lights to stand out. So I don't want to skimp on my darks. I'm babbling as I do this. I know. Bear with me for a moment. Okay. Look at that. All right. I can go with that. It does. It looks like, I mean, I don't know if it looks exactly like that, but you get the idea that it goes inside there. Oh, I like it. All right, cool. Let's do the other one. Oops. Making the dark off my brush. Let's do the other one. This is going to be good. All right. So the top part first. I want a warmer. Give me a warmer brown. There we go. Let's see. What else do I'll tell everybody else. I told Kenya, amidst the flurry of computer problems, I'm hoping to, in the new year, I'm not going to start it in December, but I'll start it in January to try some more impressionistic painting, right? Some looser painting. Since I had some extra time and I spent some extra time, because of the holidays, because of Thanksgiving, and I spent some of that time looking at YouTube. One of the things I did was I kind of reconnected with Tim Wilmot's videos, someone I very much like. He's got a cool style. It's very much like Alvaro Castagnet's. I mean, it's not, in all honesty, it's not quite as cool as Alvaro's. But Alvaro is, I think, quite a special case. So I watched a number of Tim's videos, and still impressed with how he paints. And so I'm hoping, I don't think I'm ever going to be much of an impressionist painter. That's okay. But I think I can probably incorporate some impressionist styles or some impressionist techniques in what I do. So I think it was going to be an interesting exercise to do some much more impressionistic, much looser painting. So there's going to be that for everybody to look forward to, and you can look forward to it because you think it's going to be really good, or it might, quite honestly, it just might turn into an abject disaster, which would be good too because it'll be funny. But in all seriousness, I think it'll turn out okay. I'm not expecting to do as good a job as he does, or Alvaro does. But I do think there are some good techniques or lessons to be learned in there, and probably takeaways for normal painting and whatnot. I remember loose painting you did before. Thank you. I'm not convinced how nice it was, but thank you, Tracy. You're always so nice. But I'm gonna give it a try. Why not, right? Why not? It's not gonna hurt anything. Other than maybe my pride. No, it's gonna be all good. Okay, so cool. I've got these tongues painted. I don't know if we're going to need to go over them with a second coat, but I think there are parts of... am I buffering again? Are we back? I'm going to get it figured out. I'm not going to go until I'm back. Am I back? No, I'm not back. Okay. It looks like I'm streaming again. I don't know how far behind I am. My numbers look good. So I'm going to go with it. And what I'm going to say is, I like the way the boot looks. The boot actually has some cool watercoloriness to it, but I want to give it even a little bit more depth, right? I want this boot to look like it comes out, which means a little bit of dark at the bottom. Right? I want this to have a little curve up here, which means something up here. All that is to say we've got a little extra color we need to put on there. So I'm going to go with that. And I'm not going to do wet in wet. I'm just going to go wet on dry. I'm going to put my color on first. And then I'm going to pull that color up. Okay. I'm going to pull that color up. And if I need to put on a little bit more color because it's run that little bit too much, I'm going to do that. But I think we can get away with this. Or let's see if we can get away with this anyways. I think we can do it. I think we can. I'm like the little engine that could, right? I think we can. I think we can. Actually, I should be saying, I don't think we can. I know we can do this. Right? I'm going to leave it kind of like that. Right? We've got some nice lineage here. I'm just taking a little bit off because I don't want it to leave a tide line. I'm really concerned about a tide line. I'm going to put a little bit here too. Right, even if we went up that little bit, that'll be okay. I hope I'm back. Am I back? I'm gonna sue AT&T. No, it's not AT&T. Who is it? I'm not gonna sue anybody. But it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating to try to do this and then not have things work out for things that I think are outside my control. I guess I don't know exactly if they are outside of my control, but it is totally frustrating. It's completely frustrating. All right. So got a little bit of extra color on my skates here. Trying very hard with this paper not to leave a tide line. Just kind of smearing it a little bit. Almost no color on that, or I mean almost no water on that brush. All right, let's see. Oh, you know what we can paint? Let's do this. I'm going to use my same colors here. We've got some legs we can paint here. Let's put some blue in there. I'm trying to remember how I even painted flesh tones. I think I can drop a little blue in there, and that doesn't look right at all, does it? This first leg is going to be terrible. I don't remember what colors we used. Last time we painted something that was skin-ish. I think this is going to turn out more like Bart Simpson than anything else. You know what? Let's just do both of them together. We'll fix this. Fix that in a minute. It's a terrible color. All right, and we're going to have a stripe on this sock. I'm going to go with a red stripe. Let's do that. Let's do a red stripe here. It's a lot of paint. I debated whether I whether I wanted to put socks in here, whether I wanted to put legs in here, what I wanted to do with this at all, quite honestly, and I decided that I'm gonna do socks like are in the picture, and I need to do a stripe because part of that stripe is going to help denote the roundness of whosever legs these are. Right? Without that stripe in there, these could be just flat. But you put that stripe in there and all of a sudden they're not flat. So YouTube is misbehaving. Yeah. Let's blame it on YouTube. Let's blame it on YouTube. Let's not blame it on Michael. All right. What else do we have to do? I've got some inside leather here. I don't know what this is called. Inside leather. The interior of these skates. What color would that be? I don't know. Let's give it this color. The inside skate color. That's what we have here, inside skate. I think if you bought a box of crayons, you'd have inside skate. I'm pretty sure. Let's just cover that whole thing up. I'm pretty sure that's an actual color. what I'm actually pretty sure of is it's not really going to matter as long as we have a color there to denote that it's different than the outside. And if you look at it, I think they're actually looking pretty good. I got to go down another brush size because I want to get back into my blue here, and I want to start putting on a few shadows on my shoelaces. All right, shadows on my shoelaces. What's that for? That is just to get some depth in here. Right? Laces one over, one under, one over, one under. We gotta get that separation out somehow. Everybody needs to know that this is an over under tie. How are we gonna do it? We're gonna do it by, telling people, hey, this is what this looks like. This is an over under tie. Couple of lines here, couple of lines there. And I'll bet you that before we know it, we're going to have some great looking shoelaces. I'm trying to see what's wet and what's not, where I can put my hand without everything getting a little goofed up. All right, okay. A little bit on this side too. When I picked this image out, I really didn't imagine that I was going to be painting a whole lot of shoelaces. I didn't think about it. And then as it was about halfway through drawing these shoelaces, I was like, oh man, I am going to have to paint all of these. Then I had to think, how am I going to do it? Going to make it relatively easy and relatively effective. And check that out. You look at it now. Yeah, it's a little blue, but you're not going to recognize. You're not going to go, oh, it's too blue. You're just going to go, there's shoelaces. I hope. I hope. Look, I got all these colors here. I got too many colors here. Look at this. I'm going to purple this up a little bit. My red over here. Purple that a little bit. That's on the back side. All right. Actually, I'm actually pretty happy with what we got going on here. I'm gonna do something really light here. I want to get super watery. Super watery. Is everybody back with me? Is anybody back with me? I should ask that. Is anybody back with me? Anybody who has roller skates knows you have a line of stitching right in here. Look at, there's my line of stitching. Really light, really light. Stitching. I want it represented, but I don't want to do stitching. I want to do like the lightest line possible I can do, and then just leave it be. I haven't done a heavy layer underneath it, so I can put a light line on top of it, some glazing on top of it, and it won't look as though I've done some glazing on top of it because of that light layer. if I were to have put a darker layer, a heavier layer of paint underneath, then when I would go to put this glaze on the top, totally it's gonna be everywhere. And I hope you can see that just in the back. That might be even a little too light. One of the cool things about these are the stitching in them. I always thought that was kind of neat. So I'm just trying to make sure I get some of that represented in here. All right, I think we got it. I think we've got that. If we don't have a perfect image everywhere, that's okay. I like most of our wheels here. These ones back here, maybe a little work to do. I'm here, you're back. Okay, good. I'm back, you're back, everybody's back. Whew. I'm trying to get through it. Actually, look, my legs lightened up a little bit. They're not as bad as I thought they were. Whoever this is severely needs a tan, I will say that. Severely. But maybe the legs don't look quite as bad as I thought they were going to look. Of course, they might not look quite as good as I thought they were going to look either. Again, I don't know whose legs they are, but I'm imagining, you know, some teenager, somebody who wants to get out and roller skate. Maybe they're heading out to Venice Beach and they're going to do some roller skating around Venice Beach or something. I don't know, something like that. Okay, where are we at? Let me clean a little bit off of my palette here. Yay! I'm assuming this is Dwayne. Welcome. Everybody's login seems to be a little bit different today. I don't know if that's something I've done or if that's something Yahoo has done. Likely it's something I've done. Seemingly, I've made a hash of everything. Usernames are completely messed up today. Well, I mean, if I'm being honest, usernames are only the the tip of the iceberg. I've screwed up. I'm taking blame for a lot of it that's not working right, but it's okay. It's all okay. We're gonna get through it. We're having a good time. I got my boots. I think the boots actually look pretty good. I might come back with a little dark back here and pull that forward. I love the front of these. I need to get all of these eyelets in there. I think once the eyelets get in there and we get some color on the tags here, that's going to be okay. The legs I can live with. The socks have a good, to me, socks have a nice watercolory look to them. What we need to get in here is some of the chrome trucks, if I'm using that word right. So I'm going to paint some of my trucks on here. These are going to be light. This first go around is going to be really light. And I'm going to try to remember what bits are what color. Some of these bits are a little fiddly down here. But we're going to get it worked out, and it's going to turn out wonderful. It's just going to do it. That's all there is to it. Let's see. That's kind of a different color. Let's give this a color, and then that down there. Let's see. This is all truck. Here, here, up there. That was the bit that I painted that I shouldn't have painted. It'll be all right. And I got this bit gets painted. Let's do that. This bit here all the way down. Ooh. All right. And that. Now I think that's all of the metal that's on here, if I've got that right. And if it's not right, it's close enough. We'll figure it out. We will figure. Oh, and I've got some metal here. Let's not forget this. Got some metal here. And maybe there. That's all right. Okay. Okay. Dwayne, welcome. I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. Hope you were able to spend some time with some loved ones and everything went well. Let's see. I think my roller skates are going to have a red tag on them here. Let's see. A little red, and then I'm gonna paint a little logo on these. When this is dry, but there's my tag. All right. Maybe it's not super red, it's just a little bit red, but that's okay. Oh, eyelets. I'm like, I know there was something I'm missing. I'm going to drop down another brush size. How many more brush sizes do I have to drop down? And I'm going to find a gold. So, how do I make a gold? I don't have any idea how I make a gold. If I move my skates for just a second, this is my old scrap piece of paper here. A little yellow ochre and a little bit of whatever this is. Not Napa, bismuth yellow. Is that going to be a bright enough gold? That looks pretty gold-ish. I think maybe I'm just going to go with that. I don't know. We're going to give it a try. All right, some ochre, some of this yellow, a nice bright color. Now my reference photo, these are not in any way, shape, or form gold. I get that. I'm not worried about it. I used to go roller skating in my younger days. Neil Diamond song. Neil Diamond, the jazz singer. I like it. I like it, the jazz singer. A little Sweet Caroline, a little Song Some Blue, a little Cracklin' Rose. Who else? Well, I know everybody knows him. What else did he sing? What am I know I'm missing some big ones. I know. And no, I'm probably I'm going to say probably I'm probably not going to start singing, but I cannot guarantee it. So if I do start, just everybody turn your volume down about 20 notches. Save your hearing. That'll be the best thing for you in the long run. Come on. What's everybody's favorite Neil Diamond song? Don't let me be the only one naming Neil Diamond songs here. That doesn't seem fair. Song sung blue, weeping like a willow. See, now you know what's going to happen is kids from Sweet Caroline. There you go. Okay, cool. I like Sweet Caroline. Great song. All right, we got some eyelets on there now. Yeah, they don't stand out quite like I want them to, but we're going to put that black dot in the middle of them. See, if I look at them, they really pop out of there, but they need that little black dot. I saw them live in Edmonton a few years ago. Wow. Okay, so that would really be cool. I would love to see him. That would be fun. All right, my metal color here, turquoise, Payne's gray. I think I've got this dry enough here. I can come back for a second coat and really start defining some areas. This one up there is just all black. Right, and our truck down here, pretty dark. Let's see, that's the heel there. This is kind of one of the cool things about watercolors is you put one layer of paint on and you can put it on everything. Crackling rose, there you go. You put the second layer of paint on and you get to define whatever shapes you want to define. And I just think that's kind of one of the super cool things about watercolors. It just makes everything all of a sudden, whoops, I kind of did that wrong, didn't I? It makes everything kind of pop to life by putting in this second layer of color. You can try to do it on the first layer. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't, but always when you put that second layer of color on there, all of a sudden, boom, bammo, everything starts to come to life. All of a sudden we have shapes defined, we have things going on. Starts to get a lot more interesting. Right, now we've got some shapes going on underneath here. I don't know what all of these do. I certainly don't know what all of these do. But I know that all of a sudden they have quite a bit of interest because there's some serious dimensionality going on all of a sudden. There we go. Okay, so now I've got to make the determination, what are the other colors that are in here? And I'm going to make, I don't want to use black. So we're going to make a dark blue or a dark gray here. Right? I'm going to use some ultramarine blue. I'm going to use some sepia. It's going to make this really dark, intense brown, gray. Right? We leave it a little bit more on the blue side. It'll always seem like it's a bit more in shadow down here, but it's going to be quite a bit darker, and it's going to be definitely a different color than what's there. And again, it's just going to help define things a little bit more down here. Where is my color? I need a little bit more water in that color. And so I don't know if this is exactly what a roller skate looks like underneath. And honestly, I don't think it matters. I think I could paint anything under here, really. I can make it look like anything. And because this boot is so iconic, because everybody knows what that boot is, everybody knows what the rest of this is. Oh, cool. That's a skateboard, a skateboard. That's a roller skate. Everything underneath, metal and plastic in some configuration. Right? Everything under here, metal and plastic in some configuration. As long as it's mostly right, unless somebody's going to sit there and scrutinize it, they're going to go, oh, look, it's a roller skate. Look, it already looks great. That little bit, and it already looks great. Add a little bit of color here. A little bit there. Even if I have that little bit of white in there, I'm not sure I want to go back and do a whole lot there. I think it looks great. Getting all that white out underneath there, all of a sudden planted this right down. And I want to, because this is kind of a painting for my wife, and she would be very upset if this was just floating in space. I want to kind of do a, I got so many brushes here, a bit of a shadow underneath here. And so I've got to, got to get some of the yellow out of here. I've got to determine what way I want my shadows to go. I think the answer is it's got to go back that way a little bit. Oh, that's going to make it tough. That shadow's got to go, maybe we can make it go across this way. But I'm going to try, very hard to put this on with a clean, and I just got, that's not clean, a clean bit of water, and determine how my shadow is going to go here. Well, this is actually going to make this pretty easy. It's going to make it really easy because there's not going to be much shadow that needs to go on here. It's basically going to go, there's your boot. I don't know. Let's give it some shadow back here too. Let's purple this up a little bit. Purple this up. The metal part looks good. The metal I'm always amazed. That metal part looks good. And you saw me do it. That metal part took the least amount of anything. It's really funny how that works. That part took almost no time to do, and yet it looks great. trying to give a little reflected color here, and maybe I got a little bit too much. A little bit here too. Oh, this is why I don't like shadows. It's turning into a giant mess. It's absolutely turning into a giant mess. There we go. Saved it. Saved it. I will admit it's probably not going to be the darkest shadow in the world. Get some of that color over there. Some of that brown over here. Some of that red, orange color. All right, that's not so bad. Metal, oh, Kenya, metal is intimidating. It's so funny what we all think is hard and what we all think is not. I have always been of the opinion it's just metal. Just paint on it, whatever. It's just metal. Not a big deal. But I get it. I get it. What I think is easy or hard is not what everybody else thinks is easy or hard. I would just paint it and go, oh, okay, done. And I did. Oh, I actually kind of like my skates here. I do feel like I need to. Oh, I got some dirty, nasty color down here. I want to try and get some really black in here. And not have any paint on my hand when I do this. There we go, logo. And I'm gonna get a really dark color here. This is gonna help too. Believe it or not, this is going to help. Get this color in this eyelet. There, now we got it. We got it. Oh, I like the way it looks. Even the weird, I don't know, it looks kind of more like smoke coming off the back of it. I think it scares me because in college, the watercolor instructor made me paint a realistic aluminum can. Ooh, it's the hardest thing ever. I can see where that would be tough. Yeah, that'd be, this is just fake metal. I want to know what the rest of the person's doing up there. Okay, so I'm just looking at this. I think this has other than this weird bit here, I think this has a great watercolor quality to it. Where's my pointer? As I'm looking at this, I love that the legs are not right. I love the band of the socks here. I like the differing colors as it comes through the boot. I like the way the wheels look. They're just enough. I could actually, as I'm looking at this, I want to do a little bit more in here. Let's see this color. I want to do just a little bit more in these wheels. Give me... Right, I just want to make sure that we can see the inside of these wheels. I don't really want to do too much to take away too much of the look that it has right now. But when you look at this, I want you to know what the inside of that wheel is and what the outside of that wheel is. I want you to know, I don't want your mind to have to put two and two together to know where that wheel is at. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just putting on that little bit. And okay, I'll put on a little bit down here too. I'll put on a little bit here. I'm gonna blend this way up. Way up. Cool. Just a little bit of an adjustment. I think that helps define what those wheels are. Oh, I think that helps quite a bit. Oh, okay. I like that. I do. I really like that. I think that helps quite a bit. Okay. And I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I like where it's at. I'm going to sign this one and call it good. And again, so you wouldn't know from watching me necessarily, but I am trying to loosen up a little bit. So the legs look loose and watercolor has that ethereal quality, right? Still have some pretty tight shapes, right? The wheels are still in pretty tight shapes. The stoppers are still pretty tight. That boot is a tight shape, but inside that boot, we've got some cool stuff going on here, right? We've got some interest going on here, much lighter out here, much darker back here. Really sets off the difference between these two. We've got a light line here, which goes into the dark in this tongue, right? The dark in the tongue there. The tongue looks like it's set inside, right? So we've got a couple of layers of it. We've got the heel, which is different than the sole, right? That little corner right there gives this heel a lot of dimension, right? It bends in and goes under right there, that little dark spot. All of these lines under here just add to it. I didn't really do anything under there. I put a little color on and went like this and done. But the wheels have that cool value. You can just imagine a little bit of light coming through and hitting right there. You got to have the light if you're going to have some dark. I think adding that little bit of dark in here helped. Same thing over here. Adding that little bit of dark helped because we got this big light spot right there. I'm tickled with the way this came out, to tell you the truth. I really am. I can't tell you, I really like it. The laces, a little blue. If I'm looking at it right here, it's a little blue, but honestly, it doesn't take away from the look. It looks to me like there's a little shadow on them. And I love that we put a shadow on each one so we can see where it's crossed at. Just a little bit to make it stand out. So I'm tickled with it. Yeah, I'm completely tickled. I got to go in and tell my wife thank you for suggesting it. I think it turned out great. let's see. I apologize to everybody for the errors earlier. I'm pulling my brains out, pulling my hair out, trying to figure out what's wrong. I did a search and made a correction for the error that YouTube is giving me. I don't know if that made it the stream completely wonky to start with. And then once I set it back, we still had some issues. So I'm not sure. I'm going to try to figure this out. I've reset everything in the house. I've restarted my computer. I don't know. But I'm determined to get it working. It works from time to time, so I don't know. But thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for making my Wednesday, the end of my Wednesday, so enjoyable. I hope that you'll all be back here with me next week when we do something else. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do. If you got a suggestion, put it down below. Might do some food. The challenge this month is sandwich. So maybe we could get into doing some other food. I'm not sure. I've still got a magpie. I've got a couple of commissions. I could start on one of those or two of those. Here's a commission I'm working on right now. It's a couple of hours in. It's going fairly well. Got a lot of work yet to do, but it's getting there. That one's a lot of fun. So I want to thank you all for joining me, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.